Hi guys, welcome back. So as you can see by this title of the video, I am participating in NonFiction November. This is hosted by Olive at A Book Olive and Gemma at NonFic Books. And basically the goal of this readathon, it's a month long, and the goal is to read more nonfiction books than you generally do. If you just read one, read two during the month. And they've kind of added some challenges to it by choosing 4 categories that you can focus your TBR around, and I have found some books that fit that. They're very loose categories, so they say you can interpret it however you want. Some of these might be a bit of a stretch, but we're going to go with it anyway. Now, I do read nonfiction from time to time. I used to read more in the past, and particularly on my first subject, which I'll show you in just a moment, I used to read a whole bunch of books on. And that first category is home, and for that I chose this book. No Way Down, Life and Death on K2 by Graham Boley. Now, this is a mountain climbing book. I used to be infatuated with this subject. I don't know why, but I've read so many books on mountain climbing, Everest or K2, Annapurna. I've read The 7 Summits. I highly recommend that book. I don't remember the authors off the top of my head, but they're 2 amateur climbers that decide to climb the highest peaks on all 7 continents. That was really cool. The Annapurna one was an all-women expedition of that mountain, and the tragic events that took place there as well as the successes. But for some reason, mountain climbing has always fascinated me. I even at one point had a book called Mountaineering, and it talked about all the equipment and techniques of climbing. Not like I ever planned on climbing. I mean, in a sort of twist, I'm actually slightly afraid of heights. But I'm an armchair climber, I guess. But yeah, so that's the one I'm picking for home because in some instances, I figured, some people did not make it home. This is the 2008 expedition of K2, and it suffered from a lot of the typical things that seem to happen these days. Overcrowding, lack of equipment. There were at least, it says about 10 expeditions, international teams on the mountain at that one point. So bottleneck, all sorts of a chain of events that resulted in a tragic death of 11 climbers. And I'm just kind of curious to find out more about this. K2 has always been described as an even more challenging climb than Everest, even though it is 800 feet less in elevation than Everest. But it's the angle of the ascent and everything, and yeah, it's just a topic that's always fascinated me, so I'm looking forward to kind of delving more into that. Another one of the categories is substance. This is a weird one. This might be my stretch. I'm going with The King's Grave. This is the discovery of Richard III's lost burial place and the clues that it holds by Philippa Langley and Michael Jones. Richard III is just a person of history who's always sort of fascinated me ever since I read Shakespeare's play. I figure the substance in this case would be what they find beneath the parking lot, or his skeleton. I've never really kind of read up on that whole discovery. I find it absolutely fascinating. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to delving into that. The third challenge is love, and this is going to be a carryover from my Victober TBR, which I didn't get to this particular book. It's going to be the first one I start, and that is The Profundity by Oscar Wilde. It's basically a love letter from Oscar Wilde to his friend and lover, Lord Alfred Douglas, written from jail, and it's described as a classic of gay literature. It's a very slim one, so this is one I should hopefully get through fairly quickly. So yeah, that one's love. And then the final challenge is scholarship, and for that I'm going with Barbara Mertz, Temples, Tombs, and Hieroglyphs. And this is a popular history of ancient Egypt. I absolutely love this author, even though I've never read any of her books. I thought I'd throw that in there because it's kind of funny. I've never read any of the books she's written under her actual name. This is the author of the Elizabeth Peters mysteries and also the Barbara Michaels Gothic suspense stories. Those are her 2 pen names that she writes under. And I've loved all of them basically. I've read just about all the books under both of those names. And this is the first time I've had a chance to pick up one of her nonfiction books. She actually has a PhD in Egyptology. She's passed away now, but she received her PhD from the University of Chicago's famed Oriental Institute. And I've always been fascinated by archaeology, hence I kind of got into the Elizabeth Peters, Amelia Peabody series. And this one's got some photos and things inside, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to delving into a little bit of ancient Egypt on there. So that is sort of my TBR for NonFiction November. I do have like another one that I'm considering if I have time to get to, and that is the Underground Storyteller. This is by Alex Day. It came out back in like 2014. I've had it since then. I just never got around to reading it. Alex Day is a musician and a YouTuber who wrote a book about his fascination with the London Underground. He wanted to visit all of the, I think it's, what does it say, 270 stations of the tube, and find out what stories there are to tell about them. And he set it out, and there's the book. So he's kind of a quirky individual, interesting sense of humor, and I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, what his book is like. So those are my books I have planned for NonFiction November. In addition to that, I'll be reading several Shakespeare plays. I think I have 4 Shakespeare plays for this month for ShakeTube 2017. And I may throw in some other things if I have time. But I really want to try and focus on these particular nonfiction books and get through these. So yeah, let me know if you guys are going to be participating in it. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.